You might know him as Eminem, Slim Shady, or Marshall Mathers. No matter the name, there's no denying he changed the entire landscape of rap. But behind the fame and the sold-out arenas is a story that feels more like a survival movie than a celebrity biography. Marshall Bruce Mathers III was born in 1972 in St. Joseph, Missouri. His very name carried the shadow of someone who wasn't there, his father, who walked out before Eminem could even form memories. As a teenager, Marshall reached out through letters, desperate for a response, but the silence on the other end never broke. His mom, Debbie, was constantly on the move, struggling to keep a roof over their heads. That meant Marshall was always the new kid, hopping from school to school, sometimes every few months. Imagine never being able to settle in, never having the same classmates long enough to make real friends. Teachers even mislabeled him as slow, not realizing he was just caught in the chaos of constant change. And it wasn't just the classrooms that made life difficult. Growing up white in mostly black neighborhoods and schools during that era added another layer of pressure. But instead of breaking down, Marshall locked himself away in comic books and imagination, creating a world where he didn't feel like the outsider. School, however, wasn't just tough. It was brutal. One classmate, D'Angelo Bailey, went beyond teasing. He cornered Marshall in a bathroom and beat him so badly that Marshall ended up in a coma for 10 days. 10 days. He had to relearn basic motor skills after waking up. If that wasn't enough, whispers around his home life suggested something darker. Claims that his mother had Munchausen syndrome by proxy, making her children believe they were sick when they weren't. Still, through all that turmoil, Detroit became the backdrop of his childhood. And it was there that Marshall found one bright light: his uncle Ronnie Polkinghorne. Ronnie wasn't just family. He was Marshall's escape hatch, the one person who shared his passion and gave him a sense of belonging when everything else felt unstable. Ronnie wasn't just Marshall's uncle, he was practically a big brother. They were only 2 months apart in age, but Ronnie played a massive role in shaping young Marshall's world. He was the one who put Marshall onto rap, first by introducing him to the song Reckless from the Breakin' soundtrack. That moment lit a fire in him. But tragedy would hit hard years later. Ronnie took his own life. Marshall was devastated, too broken to even attend the funeral. The loss haunted him, and school wasn't much of a refuge either. He was stuck repeating 9th grade for 3 years before finally dropping out at 17. Even without a diploma, Marshall always had 2 things going for him: a gift with words and an obsession with rap. He threw himself into open mic battles, scribbling lyrics, testing out rhymes, and experimenting with stage names. At first, he went by MCMM, then Eminem, inspired by his initials and, of course, that candy-coated wordplay.
But I know something about you. You went to Cranbrook. That's a private school.
By the time Eminem stuck, he was grinding in the underground rap scene. But nothing came easy. Being a white rapper in Detroit during the 90s meant constantly battling doubters. Still, he linked up with other local talent, especially Proof, who believed in him. Even with their support, convincing the crowd to take him seriously was an uphill fight. Life outside of music was just as chaotic. He met Kim in the late 80s, and by the mid-90s, they welcomed their daughter Haley. Determined to give his family more than poverty, Marshall poured everything into his first album, Infinite. But instead of a breakthrough, it was a crushing flop. With bills piling up, he clocked in 60-hour weeks at Gilbert's Lodge, a family restaurant, before eventually being fired. The disappointment of his failed record and the financial pressure pushed him so low that he even attempted to end his life. By 1997, Marshall was living back in his mom's trailer with Kim and baby Haley. That year, something in him snapped. Or maybe clicked. He switched up his writing style, making it sharper, edgier, and way more controversial. Out of that storm came a new persona: Slim Shady. Through Slim, Marshall had an outlet to say the wildest, rawest things without holding back. It wasn't just an alter ego, it was his survival mechanism, and it was about to flip the rap world upside down. What came next was the Slim Shady EP. That little project eventually landed in the hands of Dr. Dre, and just like that, Marshall's life changed forever. Backed by Dre, Eminem, or Slim Shady as the world now knew him, exploded into overnight fame. With superstardom came the chaos. His music was praised and picked apart, but it was his personal life that stole headlines again and again, especially in courtrooms. His relationship with Kim became the stuff of tabloids, with the pair marrying, divorcing, and remarrying in a stormy cycle. Things with his mother weren't much better. Their rocky history turned ugly when Debbie actually sued her own son for $10 million over lyrics from the Slim Shady LP. And lawsuits didn't stop there. Eminem's been dragged to court for everything from copyright battles over samples to defamation claims. At one point, even the same kid who once beat him so badly he landed in a coma tried to sue him over a diss track. And if that wasn't wild enough, the Secret Service reportedly looked into him after a controversial lyric in We as Americans. Behind all the public drama, Marshall was battling private demons. During the filming of 8 Mile, the movie that mirrored his own struggles, he developed insomnia from the grueling schedule. To cope, he turned to prescription pills, which snowballed into a dangerous addiction. At his lowest, he admitted that entire years of his life were lost in a blur of drugs. Things nearly ended in tragedy. He overdosed on what doctors said was the equivalent of 4 bags of heroin. After multiple relapses, Marshall found a lifeline in healthier habits like exercise, and surprisingly, one of his biggest supporters in staying sober was none other than Elton John, who made it a habit to call and check in on him. Through it all, Marshall's music never stopped shocking, entertaining, and changing the rap game. His razor-sharp lyrics, often hilarious and sometimes brutally controversial, pushed the limits of what hip-hop could be. But maybe the real story here isn't just about the rhymes. It's about the relentless fight of a man who refused to let the odds break him. And hey, if you love deep dives into the lives of your favorite celebrities, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and give this video a thumbs up so you never miss the next big story. Trust me, the drama, the legends, and the scandals, they're only just getting started.
All up in